No icing, and for the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup. Hello, I'm Peter Marzano, and I'm here to close the books on a great NHL season and to open the door to another one. Now, how fitting on a night. The Boston Bruins win their first Stanley Cup in 39 years, and I see that Tom Ricketts has found a way to embrace losing by backing Jim Hendry and Mike Quade. So, the Vancouver Canucks, have embraced their own way of losing by choking once again to the Boston Bruins. Now, sure, it's the second time in 3 years that a team has held a 3-2 lead and has ended up losing it, both of the times, losing Game 7 at home. This happened to the Detroit Red Wings and the Vancouver Canucks. The only team that this didn't happen to, the Chicago Blackhawks. It seems it's that way, and it seems fitting for Blackhawks fans that their two most hated rivals both get shocking defeats at Game 7 at home. Now, let's take a look back to April of 2011, where we came so close to possibly knocking out the Vancouver Canucks and may have very well head to the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row. But was it just one play? How close were we? Really were? Now, as we look at this, we see that the Vancouver Canucks ended up getting their way to the Stanley Cup final, which to me wasn't that surprising after them beating the Blackhawks. They ended up skating past the Nashville Predators in 6 games and then took out the San Jose Sharks in just 5. The Boston Bruins presented a new challenge, and while they did win Games 3, 4, and 6, they shocked the Canucks on home ice in Game 7. What a series played by Tim Thomas, as he didn't play one bad game in the series, and Roberto Luongo got embarrassed in Boston and didn't play his best game tonight, Game 7. So, I guess it's nice for Hawks fans to see that Vancouver made it this far to end up losing. And on the other hand, it's nice for Chicago fans to see that the Miami Heat, who took out the Bulls, ended up losing as well. So, I would call it a decent night in Chicago, and probably a good night in Boston as well. So, now as we look ahead to next season, we see some new horizons heading out for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks obviously had a season that was not as great as their Cup year of 2009-2010. But the Blackhawks, I expect them to come back with a vengeance next year and to possibly take a run at the Stanley Cup again. Now, we see that July 1st is fastly approaching us, so we'll have to see what Stan Bowman and the Chicago Blackhawks can do at that point. Now, the Blackhawks pick up another role-playing forward and probably another good defenseman. They're right up there. But there's more things that the Blackhawks need to do. If they improve on their chemistry throughout the offseason and the regular season, I think that they will be a favorite to win the Stanley Cup next year. But there's many teams that can possibly challenge them, including a Detroit Red Wings team again, the Vancouver Canucks you saw tonight, and I would say watch out for the Los Angeles Kings. As I predicted last year that they would go to the Cup, they obviously did not, but I see a very good team coming out in them next year. So, the Chicago Blackhawks and their fans experienced a somewhat bittersweet night to see that they were so close to taking out their heated rivals in what is an epic collapse, losing 3-0 in the series. And they might have just been inches away, but it ends up proving not that bad as the Vancouver Canucks get embarrassed in front of their own fans for Game 7. So Canada remains winless for a Stanley Cup since 1993 when the Montreal Canadiens won. The Vancouver Canucks remain winless of a cup whenever it's been, as they have not won a Stanley Cup yet and hold the second longest drought in NHL history. Well, not in NHL history, but in the NHL right now, only trailing the Toronto Maple Leafs, who haven't won a cup since 1967. The Boston Bruins themselves stopped a drought of 39 years, as they had not won since they won the Stanley Cup in 1972 against the New York Rangers. So we see a little glimpse into history, but we also see that the original 6 teams are fastly coming back to the front side of hockey. All 6 original 6 teams will be playoff contenders next year, and that's including the Toronto Maple Leafs, who I know many have doubted in the past couple of years. I think the Maple Leafs make the playoffs next year, the 7 or 8 seed, and probably, well, not probably, but maybe upset a team to advance to the semifinal. So this is good for hockey, and this is one of the reasons why hockey is on the rise. It's great to see another Original Six team win the Cup, the third time in the past 4 years, and it's a great season for the 2010-2011 season that we just saw on tonight. So, while the Chicago Blackhawks did not end up advancing past the first round, I would call it a somewhat successful season, as halfway through the season we did not even know if they would be in the playoffs. So, it's okay for us. But watch out next year. The Chicago Blackhawks team will be fast approaching and may possibly win the Stanley Cup again. So this has been Peter Marzano, and who knows, the Hawks will be back next year.